set of steering wheels, head to head, winner stays on. By the end of this video, one of these steering wheels is gonna win based on performance, comfort, and value.
The first matchup is between the Moza ESX and the Simucube Savu Pro. And the clear winner is the Moza ESX. I'm just kidding, it's not. Although this is a great wheel and it does come with the R3 bundle, it's not a wheel I'm gonna go out of my way to purchase. Time to send the Moza wheel to the graveyard. I'm not gonna be doing that with the other ones. Now this actually gets interesting because we have the Simucube Savu Pro at $1,700 matching up against the Conspit Max 01. And this is a little different because now you have a steering wheel with a screen and it's coming in at a cheaper value of $729. The Simucube is built like a rock. It's one of the most sturdy wheels, very, very hefty. It's heavy. It's thick. There's no flex whatsoever. The grip material specifically is very good. The buttons, some of the best buttons I've ever felt on any steering wheel with zero play, like almost nothing. The reason for that is they're so recessed inside the chassis, making it a little tedious to change the buttons, but they're very, very tactile, clicky, all the rotary dials, everything is amazing. Ergonomically, I would say that there's some downfalls in terms of the button placement on the bottom buttons near the bottom edge of the wheel. The paddles, very sharp, very clicky, amazing. Clutches, very short throw, and actually a little sticky on my unit. So not a huge fan of the clutches themselves, but overall, this is an incredibly solid wheel and also direct electronic connection to the wheelbase itself using Simucube's proprietary software and electronics. So let me be really clear. The Simucube, it's incredible, but at $1,700, I'd expect this thing to be untouchable and just built perfectly. But there are some downfalls with it, and that's the actual size of the grip. It feels like I'm driving on half of a wheel. Like there's something missing on the bottom because my hands always feel like they're hanging off the bottom edge. Like they didn't make the wheel long enough. And it just feels really awkward because I'm trying to like rely on the palm of my hand to feel the balance of the car. But all I'm doing is pushing on the corner of the grip. So for someone with reasonable medium-sized hands, I'd say that the wheel feels just too small. So that's where the Conspit Max 01 comes in. It's an insane value steering wheel. You get a screen, you have LEDs on the steering wheel. The buttons, not as premium as Simucube. Nothing really feels as premium, although it's a metal chassis with a carbon fiber front plate and very minimal plastic on the steering wheel. So for only $729, it's a really good value. The grip feels really good. I would say without gloves, it's very plasticky, but with gloves, you don't really notice the texture itself, but the shape of this grip is nice. It's a 300mm diameter. The Simucube feels roughly the same, coming in at, I believe, 290, just a little bit smaller than the Conspit. And for me personally, I prefer a slightly bigger steering wheel. So 300 I find is a really nice sweet spot for a wheel. It's diverse. It's something that you can use across many different cars. And this is a little bit more of a versatile wheel because you can use it in GTs and in prototypes because of the screen. I would say that the clear winner here is the Conspit Max 01. I'm gonna go carefully place this Simucube wheel over in the graveyard now. I'm not gonna throw it. All right, matchup number 3. And okay, before I get into this, it's way too hot in here. I gotta take off this hoodie. Okay, so we've jumped into a completely different tier. Now, both wheels, the Precision Sim Engineering LMX, one of the most expensive steering wheels you can get, versus the Conspit Max 01. Both have screens, both have LEDs, both built a little bit differently, but with the Precision Sim Engineering wheel, the LMX coming in at $2,475 with the build that I have, LEDs, the quick flick paddles at the top. It's quite expensive when you compare it to a wheel that's $729. Does pretty much the same thing, has a lot of same functions and controls, but doesn't feel quite as good. It's sturdy, but the buttons, I mean, there's clearly a difference in the tactile feel between the buttons, the resistance of the rotaries. You can feel the difference in the price, but the question is that enough? The paddles on the Conspit, really nice. You do have these magic buttons on the back. The clutch is just as good, I would say. Just as nice of a feeling as the Precision Sim. Maybe a little more resistance on the Precision Sim wheel, but the throw is what's really important here. Very long throw, good for just being able to modulate your clutch release. The paddles are definitely not as good, but at the end of the day, I'm not really concerned about the feeling of the paddles. They do their job, they don't miss shifts, and it honestly is an amazing wheel for prototype racing and something that I've actually been using a lot more lately. So as impressive as the Precision Sim Engineering LMX wheel is, and something I've used for years, I love it. Unless you have the budget that you really want a top tier steering wheel, I would say the winner is still the Conspit Max 01, and it's going to be moving on to the next round. Let's put the Precision Sim in the graveyard. Going into matchup number 4, we're introducing a wheel that doesn't have a screen, so it's in a little bit of a different tier, but let's talk about how it lines up against the Conspit Max 01. And I'm talking about the Precision Sim Engineering ES Pro, another Precision Sim Engineering steering wheel. Now let's see if this wheel will stand up against the insane value of the Conspit Max 01. With the Precision Sim Engineering ES Pro, I've actually been part of the development team for this steering wheel and was involved in the testing and development. So I did have input on the steering wheel itself in terms of the grip and the ergonomics of all the buttons. And it is a pretty impressive wheel. In terms of build quality, it's what you would expect from Precision Sim Engineering. It's built so well. This is a wheel that has no flex. Button placement is spot on. The grip is so comfortable. The grip material is incredible as well. You have 109 functions on the multi-switch dials, so there's more than enough to go around. I mean, I'm not going to even use a quarter of those options, but it is nice to know that those options are there and available. The paddles, they're the new Mark IV Precision Sim Engineering shifter paddles, and these are the snappiest, nicest feeling paddles of any steering wheel I've used in sim racing. Clutches, still phenomenal, very long, but against the Conspit Max 01, I would say on par, maybe a little less resistance and tension on the Max 01, but the throw is still very nice and something that's completely usable. Now coming in at $1,250 US, the ES Pro is a lot closer in value. And for those reasons there, build quality, the price being a lot closer, the fact that it doesn't have a screen on it doesn't really bother me too much, although it does limit the versatility if you're going to use this steering wheel for prototypes. For me personally, I'm driving GT cars most of the time. So this is a steering wheel that I would definitely use on a regular basis. So who's gonna win? The Conspit Max 01 with the screen and all of the functionality that you would need in a steering wheel versus the Precision Sim Engineering ES Pro. For me personally, I'm gonna move the Precision Sim Engineering ES Pro to the next round, just down to the fact that it has a stronger build quality and you know this is something that's gonna last the test of time. Yeet. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to throw this. I told you I'm not going to throw wheels anymore. With the ES Pro moving on, that leads us into matchup number 5. The ES Pro versus the Conspit 300 GT. The ES Pro is $1,250 versus the $399 Conspit 300 GT. $399. The ES Pro just beat the Max 01 because it felt more premium and more refined. But then there's the 300 GT. This thing is premium. I mean, it's built with metal, carbon fiber, very minimal plastic on here. The buttons, they're very clicky, just like the Max 01. Better paddles than the Max 01. Same clutch feel, but the grip, that's where this thing just jumped out at me. No joke, this could be one of the best sculpted grips I've ever held, and that's of any steering wheel. That's like any race car I've driven, any sim steering wheel. The actual shape of this is, in my opinion, perfect, because what they've done well is the very bottom part is slanted outward. It just like cradles your fingers, your 3 fingers that go underneath the steering wheel, underneath the spoke. Just cradles it so nicely and tucks it away. The sculpting on the thumb is just perfect. The quality of the material on here, nowhere near the Precision Sim Engineering, but the shape itself is fantastic. The ES Pro feels solid. The 300 GT feels slightly lighter and just a little bit less robust. But the ES Pro just feels expensive. When you hold it, it feels like you're holding a very expensive steering wheel, which it is pricey, and it's delivering on that price tag. But the reality is, the Conspit 300 GT is $399. I cannot say that enough. And that is just such a huge factor when I'm looking at value in a steering wheel and for how it feels and how it performs. At over 3 times the price, you would need the ES Pro to be 3 times better. And in this case, it's not, in my opinion. If you have the money, it's a fantastic wheel. But if you're on a budget and you want something that's going to feel really premium and do the job for you, the 300 GT is an amazing option. I think this is where value outweighs refinement. And for that reason, the Conspit 300 GT is moving on to the next round, knocking out the Precision Sim Engineering ES Pro. This is actually a Moradness special edition wheel that was made specifically for me with the red case back. It breaks my heart that this has got to go to the graveyard. This is the final matchup, the final boss. The VPG Porsche Cup wheel coming in at $1,800. Can it take down the $399 Conspit 300 GT? Let me repeat that. $1,800 versus $399. The VPG Porsche Cup wheel is as real as it gets. This is a direct replica of the Porsche Cup wheel, 992.2, built in the same factory. It's a carbon copy replica, no pun intended. But this thing is made up of pure carbon fiber. The chassis is super lightweight, all carbon design. It's a 1-to-1 replica, just with an added feature of the funky switches for sim racing and for ergonomics and quality of life in sim racing. But this thing has been my daily driver for the past month or so. I've been using this not just in the Porsche Cup car, but in everything. I just love the diameter. It's 309 millimeters, nice wide wheel. I think the wider a wheel gets, the more comfortable I feel in it, just because of the cars I've been driving recently with the Mercedes. They have a 330 millimeter diameter, so I really enjoy the wider steering wheel. So if authenticity is what you're chasing, this thing wins, because it is a 1-to-1 replica of the Porsche wheel. But let's move over to the Conspit 300 GT. This thing has, as I mentioned, the nicest shaped grip of any steering wheel. It just feels like my hand melts into the wheel grip itself. Although the texture is not my favorite, I can look past that when I put on the Moradness Aura Pro gloves. A subtle thing that Conspit's done on this steering wheel is they've angled the buttons slightly outward. So the buttons aren't completely flat. They're actually angled in a way where when you put your thumb onto each button, it actually sits flush with your thumb because of the angle at which you're pushing the button. That's just such a clever and well thought out design. But the Porsche Cup wheel feels incredible. The 300 GT also feels great, although build quality a little bit different. This wheel is race car quality. Carbon fiber, so light. That's actually making a tangible difference. Less oscillation, less inertia on the wheelbase. It makes driving with lighter, less torquey wheelbases a lot more enjoyable, and you can get a lot more out of lesser quality equipment. But let's be honest, if you're buying this Porsche Cup wheel, you probably have top tier equipment like the Simucube 2 or Simucube 3 already. So that wouldn't really be a concern. Although if you are a Porsche fan and an enthusiast and you have equipment that's not as powerful, this is something that's going to give you that added benefit without you even knowing. It's going to make your weaker wheelbase feel a lot more premium. Let's be honest, this competition's about performance, comfort, and value. And for pure value alone, and for the 300 GT being so close in all other aspects, I just can't see anything beating this steering wheel at the moment. With the build quality being mostly metal, carbon fiber front plate, the buttons feeling pretty solid and clicky, the paddles awesome, the clutch is really smooth, the grip being so comfortable. Gonna be a tough choice. Which steering wheel is gonna win? As much as I love the Porsche Cup wheel, I think this is just where value beats performance. And the winner of all of these 7 steering wheels, and the one that I think is the best value and bang for buck that meets all the performance and comfort criteria, is the Conspit 300 GT. This thing is an insane wheel. And I can't believe it's only $399. I'm going to be putting this on my rig. You can already see I have the quick release ready to go. My one and only Simucube quick release is reserved for this steering wheel. That's what I'm going to be using. If you are thinking about good value and good performance, the Conspit 300 GT is the wheel for you. I really hope you guys enjoyed that head-to-head competition between those 7 steering wheels that I have. Disclaimer for the video, all of the steering wheels were sent to me by the manufacturers or by the companies themselves. So there's no bias in this whatsoever. And if you do want to buy anything, make sure you check out the affiliate links down below. It would mean a lot because it would support the channel and also myself. So I really appreciate that in advance. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so. Like the video, drop a comment if you haven't done so, and I'll see you guys in the next video.